Hi everyone, and thanks so much for joining us at GDC 2022. I'm excited to present what we believe to be the next generation of gaming, built on Web3, open economies, interoperability, and the Metaverse. At Star Atlas, we're working to build a virtual universe lying at the intersection of the Solana blockchain and state-of-the-art graphics using Unreal Engine 5. Today, we're going to shed some starlight on how we see virtual worlds like ours impacting the future of labor. And we don't just mean publishing. At its core today, Star Atlas is a grand strategy space exploration MMO. Players will participate in space exploration, territorial conquest, and political strategy within a virtually limitless universe. Gamers will see their avatars progress through traditional skill tree mechanics, improve land and ship assets, and participate in immersive content created by the studio building the current foundation for the Star Atlas Metaverse. However, we see enormous potential in an open framework for development in the future, providing the infrastructure required to empower a global, borderless workforce of creators and innovators. In the following comments, I'll touch on the history of work, the place gaming and blockchain has to play in it, and how the Star Atlas team is working to become one of the preeminent sources of next-generation game design standards globally. With that, I'll provide some background on the evolution of industry. In the 18th century, the world was transformed. What was once made by hand started to be made by machine. Crafts became professions, and the Industrial Revolution took hold. Advances in communication, transportation, mechanization sparked production that was en masse and global. A population newly empowered by tools to create and access to new markets to create for produced output falling into three categories: resource extraction, transformation of these resources into products, and finally, a service industry around the products. Fast forward 3 centuries, and the marriage of the internet and personal computers has spawned a whole new race of digital natives, many watching this right now. Driven by a global revolution in connectivity, anchoring 4.6 billion humans with access to a browser to a permanent shared context, the service economy has become king, overtaking industries reliant on physical resources to make up 65% of global GDP. Today's service economy is predominantly powered by what we term Web 2.0 companies, known as the social web. Web 2 companies emphasize user-generated content, ease of use, participatory culture, and interoperability for end users. While the creator economy totals $104.2 billion globally, the individuals who benefit from Web 2 platforms receive their checks through a centralized intermediary. That intermediary uses your eyeballs and sales of goods through its platforms to make billions from those drawn by user-generated content. And while your attention is captured, so too is your data. Alec Ross, author of The Industries of the Future, made the statement that private companies now collect and sell 75,000 individual data points about the average participating American. Take that in for a second. It doesn't make you feel great. Fortunately, on the night of Halloween 2009, a solution began to sprout its wings. A treat for the global community of creators and users, and a trick for those who relied exclusively on closed, centralized systems to maintain their grip on power. That solution was blockchain, evolving into what is today known as Web 3. The blockchain-based, decentralized web disrupts the invasive structure in its entirety, allowing systems to be trustless and permissionless, transactions to be immutable, and data to be owned by the individual. Where Web 2 made the service economy flourish, in a Web 3 world, each bucket of industry can be filled to the brim from the comfort of one's own home. You want to extract resources? Mine Bitcoin or mine within Star Atlas. You want to create products? Try modding. Or better yet, become one of the 9.5 million developers making user-generated content and games or building culture in our metaverse. And of course, if you're interested in service, why not become a guild leader in Axie Infinity, a casino clerk in Decentraland, or a scientist in Star Atlas? Further, launch your own business within the metaverse, sell digital goods or experiences, and identify a new pathway to personal freedom. And while you can work from anywhere in Web 3, providing you possess an internet connection, be that a remote farm in Greenland or a ranch in Omaha, the place you really want to be is one of the sprawling virtual realms contained within the metaverse, building its future at the fusion between immersion and utility only Web 3 can provide. A smart man made the argument that the next big thing will start out looking like a toy. There are a couple reasons for this. New technologies begin by undershooting human needs, leading those who experiment with them to be considered nerds and the tech itself to be grossly underestimated. Toys are fun, and fun is desirable. Games release dopamine when challenges are completed, providing a trigger response which makes a user continue to play and develop tenacity. Gamification saturates almost every element of your on-screen life, even if you aren't immersed in Battle Royale. Let me give you some examples you may be familiar with. The buzz you get when your screen flashes with a match on Tinder. That's not love, that's gamification. Your Uber rating and how it enables you to access better drivers and faster service, well, that's gamified as well. The makers of Web 2 applications, vying for your service and your data, realized that gamification motivated consistent participation and long-term engagement in their users, and so embedded game elements into each and every point of industry. The makers of Web 3 are doing quite the opposite. Rather than embedding games into each and every point of industry, we're embedding each and every point of industry into our games, building new bottom-up businesses, prioritizing restlessness and equity from what results. Why now? Well, the transformation of games from toys to sources of income has been facilitated by a combination of technological and sociological shifts, which are still in motion. In order to make an economy work, you need three things: demand, supply, and payments. Within the Web 2 ecosystem, these existed with demand coming from billions of internet users met by supply from mega corporations who pulled on user-generated content and user data for profit. In the world of Web 3, you don't have to be employed by traditional players to make your living, nor do you need to live in a major financial capital or have a Harvard degree to thrive, to participate in the economy of the future. All you need is your computer, your console, and your curiosity. And smart money is taking note. Technologies which facilitate distributed routes to working payments and ownership received $4.5 billion in funding last quarter. Similarly, immersive worlds accelerated by adoption of AR, XR, VR, and more powerful GPUs and lower latency technologies are estimated at $160 billion. These culminated in more ways for people to participate in the virtual economy and better experiences while doing so. The routes to the new economic worlds we are so intent on building. For a world emerging from COVID confinement, where the time spent gaming increased by 39% globally, and remote work and all its forms became the norm for millions, to return to the office was no longer desirable. So why not move to the metaverse? While different modes of production exist in games, they will come to fruition in what's known as the metaverse, defined by investor Matthew Ball as an expansive network of persistent, real-time rendered 3D worlds and simulations that support continuity of identity, objects, history, payments and entitlements, and can be experienced synchronously by an effectively unlimited number of users, each with an individual sense of presence. Now, if you combine the technological acceleration we're experiencing with the sociological needs of a digitally native population, you get the blossoming meta-native industrialization that we as Star Atlas are working to build. A proliferation of in-game assets to own, rent, and buy, combined with means of participation, socialization, and self-expression, all manifesting in the digital realm, has led to entirely new economic models. And we characterize these into three distinct buckets: identity, participation, and ownership. The identity economy refers to how we present ourselves in virtual worlds, the tools and tendencies attached to our digital existences, spanning everything from avatar creation mechanisms to virtual fashion and the roles we will play in the digital realm. The participation economy is the pinnacle of workforce democratization that began with web, to where the metaverse informs how people conduct their jobs in physical, hybrid, and fully digital modes, all through decentralized means. Finally, the in-game asset economy relates back to assets we own in the virtual space. Everything from digital land and virtual currencies to NFT-based assets involved in gameplay and markets. In our case, colossal spaceships, plots of land on space stations, and countless additional digital asset classes. When it comes to Star Atlas, all three of these intersect to create a fertile metaverse-native economic system. Within Star Atlas, each one of the meta-native expression mechanisms merge together to create our wider offering. Openness. Our Web3 native dev kit powers our open permissionless marketplace and aligns the incentives of helping the players and the publishers. Through blockchain technology, decentralized marketplaces rise up that can facilitate exchanges for virtual assets. These markets are not owned by any single entity, and their growth potential is boundless. Technology. This model allows for fully programmable, non-fungible tokens that can be used to represent a digital good or service. These non-fungible tokens play a large role in blockchain gaming in the form of characters, weapons, or skins. Their counterpart, fungible tokens, serve as currency and provide a medium of exchange in-game. NFT ownership is traceable and tradable, and NFTs are easily exchanged on open markets. And while a game publisher can set a virtual economy in motion, only players, through their ownership of NFTs and other tokens, will determine the direction in which it grows. Identity. Within the Star Atlas metaverse, players elect their roles within economic microsystems, interacting with our intergalactic race, each with their own unique history and cultural backstory. This will be integral in forming connections between senses of self and a variety of lived meta-native environments. Participation. Our vision outlines over 20 professional roles, ranging from bounty hunters to CEOs, from scientists to generals with their own workforce operating within specific ships. In time, we see our world powering new economic models which span the world outside Star Atlas. Here we envision players, or decentralized autonomous guilds, being supplemented by traditional capital providers to help shape their gameplay assets. The base of the Star Atlas economy is mining, but we are already seeing a future emerge where our in-game mining assets, such as ships, are in themselves becoming a self-sufficient in-game digital asset class. What's more, in meta-native domination, we have planned for land construction, entire space cities, and microeconomies springing up, with possibilities limited only by your own imagination. As the metaverse evolves, the technologies at our disposal will be integral to the direction it develops and platforms on which it can be experienced. Specific technologies stand out from the crowd and serve as building blocks for the metaverse, and Star Atlas is a key component of this future. Specifically, VR and AR, 3D scanning, in-game NPCs that use artificial intelligence, and the Unreal Engine. Such technologies enhance metaverse experiences and interactions between digital and physical, guiding the direction and acceleration of the virtual economy. This is the time and place where the lines of different ways of experiencing reality begin to blur, one in which Star Atlas has proven itself and will continue to prove itself as a frontrunner. In closing, at Star Atlas, we are looking to bring entrepreneurs, executives, cryptocurrency enthusiasts, video gamers, and economists into our midst, and we recognize that this is a shift that will happen over generations. Star Atlas is the evolution of blockchain games, and it's also the evolution of games and blockchain. It carries the spirit of garages that game development came from, and the soul of the community that turned blockchain from an idea into reality. Built on the Solana blockchain, using Unreal Engine 5, and because of its Web3 interactivity and use of new technologies, Star Atlas flies ahead of competitors and promises to introduce the world to an evolved gaming industry. Not only are we working to provide the space for the economies of the future to blossom, but we will work to support those within it. Our wish is to enable boundless routes for prosperity, creative expression, and consistent learning within our metaverse and beyond. Thank you all, and we look forward to seeing you in the verse.